but it went down to the wire. It was down to like 5 seconds, 6 seconds. So you know they were thinking, okay, do we want Abathur here or do we want Mouth here? So maybe it'll be that situation, you know, we'll see the same bans, but it'll end up being a first pick Abathur instead of the first pick Mouth.
And talking about Abathur, for me it comes back to the same question. Is this one of those situations where you were just trying to game your opponent a little bit and just say, hey, they don't prioritize Abathur as much as we do in Europe, maybe we can get away with not banning him out? And it backfired, so now they're going straight up into an Abathur ban.
They said, no thanks. We don't want it again. I mean, and smartly so, Team 12 played really, really well with it. I'm curious to see if Team 12 gets rid of the Maiev again, or maybe, I mean, they beat the Mouth once, so maybe they can beat it again.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they're going to jump to it. It just really depends on how confident do they feel on Towers of Doom, and they've already set the precedent. I mean, something that I think we all wanted to discuss as well, Justing on Abathur.
Yes.
Hello? What? I mean, I love that he had that flexibility to play that so confidently, and it just really then shows Team 12 are not revealing all their cards. And when they do, though, it's almost like that ace slowly coming out of its sleeve, right?
What's cool is that Goku has not been he's played some Arthas throughout part 1, but hasn't played a ton of Arthas through there. But having the faith in him to be able to pull off the solo Arthas tank versus what we looked at as a tank killing composition, and a composition that was tanky so that Pulse Bomb wouldn't get the value that Team 12 was hoping to get out of that Tracer. But we got a Genji, Mike.
What? Both?
Yeah.
I mean, first pick, so here's the thing. I would understand the Genji first pick if Abathur's up. Genji Abathur is absolutely like such a strong combo. But the Abathur, they banned it out, and it looks like that screams to me that they feel like Genji counters Maiev in some way. Where they feel like Genji's, not necessarily counter, Genji's a really good pick in Maiev, because I feel like they pick this Genji knowing, okay, they're gonna go Mouth Maiev, which I would assume Team 12 goes, or maybe I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they had specific scrims against each other, but like that just screams Maiev Mouth to me.
It's also very different from what Method has done throughout the entire phase so far, because as I said before, when we saw Genji banned out against them, they played him once and they lost with him. And as you said, they don't go into Maiev, so it feels like they are either uncomfortable playing Maiev or they feel we figured out the way how to properly counter her. So it honestly makes me worried, because this is something that I didn't expect Method to commit to in this second game.
Bandy, not only Maiev, but Ethereal along with it again.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to point out, Kelly. Caldor, just expanding on your point, you were saying teams, they're waiting for like a condition to pick Maiev, and I feel like a lot of that is that Tyrael to help enable her. Because if you do have the sanctification on the enemy team, it just nullifies a lot of what she's trying to do by capturing you in that Warden's cage. So this is almost that condition that they were trying to set up before rushing into that Maiev pick.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Heroes Hearth also picked the Tyrael Maiev when it was up, so I think that is a very good point to know that NA prioritizes Tyrael with Maiev. Like, Malfurion is considered like S tier right now. So they think that having Tyrael with Maiev is more important than having a Malfurion on your team, which really lets you know how much NA emphasizes that duo together, which makes sense, right? Being able to speed Maiev into the team, getting a lot of that AoE damage down is really strong, and it looks like it is going to be an Uther Dahaka coming out for Method here. I mean, Uther and Genji have a lot of synergy, just D-Shield, Dragon Blade. It's ever since Genji became a hero, it's been such a strong combo, and then they also pick up the Dahaka Caldor.
Yeah. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
We talked about it during the first game and the draft in Dahaka now. Not only for Method, but also for Arcana is just fantastic. Focus on the macro game, make sure that you don't get out macro by your opponent. You've been highlighting how you feel that Europe usually has a stronger macro game, and I would echo that, so I like that they do this right now. Because there's a lot of pressure on Method. This is not only about the first round Western Clash, we're talking about Europe who hasn't lost in 2 years to a North American team, and it might sound like a bit of a joke, but no one wants to be the first team in Europe that actually loses to North America. And there's a lot of banter going on between players when it comes to exactly that point.
And casters.
Well, and that's what, more importantly.
Exactly, just a little bit.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, is like the past, I feel like the past 3 or 4 international events, for sure the last 2 clashes, it was, okay, we don't want to be the EU team that is one that breaks the streak. We don't want to be the EU team that loses to NA. You know, we don't want to have to that shame. So I mean, that is something that probably is in their head right now, right? Where we just lost game 1. It was pretty convincingly, like, are we actually going to be the team that loses to NA?
Liquid was close to exactly that happening to them in Kiev, and they all said, we were shocked, and we were the one team, we just were saying, guys, we can't be the first one, we can't break that streak. So that puts extra pressure on you, and that might be exactly what Team 12 needs now to make this a 2-0 series.
Yeah, and I mean, they already have in my opinion, a pretty strong draft leading into it. Granted, they only have 2 picks, but you got one of the Power Rangers. How could it be bad?
Vandy, are you surprised to not see a Blaze ban from Team 12, given that Bunker might be a way of trying to get through the Warden's cage?
I'm not too surprised, just because they've already come up against Arcana's Blaze.
That's true.
I guess this is their way of saying we're prioritizing other things by banning out that Arthas. They don't want that to fall into Method's grip, and I feel like because they've got the Maiev, they're really trying to give her the best shot of being that assassin that she's made to be. Even pairing her with that Tyrael, giving her the extra shields. We know that she got nerfed her survivability. Tyrael can help bolster that once again.
Yeah, and they ended up getting the Blaze, but I think that was maybe a clue that they wanted to make sure to have Blaze versus Dahaka. Yeah, Carol?
And also, like, coming back to your point, I feel for Method, it's one of those situations where you're well aware of the threat that Blaze can pose, but especially when we're talking about the Warden's Cage and Sanctification already being a problem, if you stack Malfurion on top of that with the Roots and then a Twilight Dream, it's just one of those, which is the lesser evil here. So they decided to ban out Malfurion, and now we have Blaze up at the top lane. And I think Method feels confident dealing with him. I'm really more curious to see how this combo with Maiev and Tyrael works out this time, because we've only seen her once so far. She's been banned consistently throughout the first maps that we had, except for Towers of Doom in the previous series. So same map, and Maiev goes through, and so maybe this time she'll actually win.
It's so interesting because I feel like so the Hero's Hearth versus Method, or the Hero's Hearth versus Dignitas, and the Team 12 versus Method, when they play Towers, it's very similar compositions, right? So Method last picks the Johanna, Gul'dan, Dig last pick to Johanna, Junkrat. So basically two heroes that have a lot of wave clear as well as disruption, right? Horrify, as well as the boop on the Junkrat. So it's very interesting just seeing like the metas clash where Method and just EU in general kind of has this way to counter the Maiev, right? They feel like the hero is strong, but they don't think it's that strong on towers. It's basically like what I am interpreting this as. And the way that you beat it is you get a lot of wave clear and you get good gank.
Yeah.
So
I mean, also with what we're seeing right now is power picks for them. A lot of them. Dahaka for Arcana for the top lane. Gul'dan, 5-0 on there. And Johanna, they have a 2-0 here. So then we have Genji. They haven't really picked him as much, but they fall back into an Uther Genji composition. So it's a lot of comfort picks for them, a lot of picks where they're insanely strong on a certain hero. And it just feels like they're playing it safe at this point, just recognizing that they're already behind in the series.
What do you think about the Lunara pick?
I'm very surprised, but also very interested. She can offer a lot of that poison damage and also help Maiev, because then you're like trying to sort of go, who do we focus? At Lunara, she's whittling us down. Maiev now going to execute similar to the Grey main when you do pair it in that way. So really wanting to see how it plays out. They do have that Rhaegar as well to give them second life. I feel like this is a very, very annoying composition for Method to go up against.
Yeah, it feels like NA has been drawing out Lunara more and more, Mike, especially versus the solo Uther and on this map.
I love it. I really like that last pick coming out for T12. I was a little iffy on draft, but now I feel like with that last pick, I feel like Team 12 has kind of, in my mind, secured the draft win, right? A draft win doesn't always mean you're going to win the game, but I feel like they got the draft win. And the big reason for that is they have tools to save the Lunara as well, right? It is scary into an Uther Genji, but you have the drop down, you have the bunker, right? So when de-shielded, Dragon Blade is coming in, you just drop the bunker, and then your Lunara can get out safe, and you just reset, right? And if you're able to reset against an Uther comp, you win. And the reason for that is because he just runs out of mana. He doesn't have that many heals. He's not good in sustain. He needs fast fights. He needs that de-shielded, Dragon Blade to end the fight quickly.
We'll keep going. Is your prediction then Team 12 after that Lunara pick?
It is. Team 12 all the way, baby. I love Lunara. I'm so excited.
You're totally like, I like what I'm hearing. Keep going.
Yes, just keep it up.
Good.
Keep it up. Vandy, what's your prediction?
I'm also really loving Team 12's, draft. The Maiev and Tyrael, we have to watch out for it.
Kaldor?
I can't possibly vote against the European team. So I agree with the stress strength. Hey, I have to, okay.
He's going to be really sad, guys, so just go easy on him,
I'm so
okay?
excited.
If I convince myself that they can win, they will win. It's just about keeping faith here, okay? So I think that we're going to have Shrimpy perform really well with the wave play that they have, and also bringing in the ANZ power, bringing in Arcana and Dahaka, they can somehow manage, because I unfortunately agree with those two. The draft is a little bit scary that they're facing, but as I said, I have faith.
I don't. Let's go North America. All right. North America. I'm voting for Team 12. I like the draft too. I really like the adjustments, and I feel like Hero has played a mean Lunara, although I guess this would maybe be a change-up in having Dansky on that, given that we have the triple melee. So I'm really excited to see if we can get a Maiev win, if we can get a North American win. After that last performance, so too are you guys at home. Very close in the votes. Let's see if North America can do it. Jay Howe and Trixler, over to you guys.
Caldor, I'm right there with you, man. I'm feeling the pain. Like, is this normal? Like, people doubting Europe? I'm not okay with this. I mean, I kind of agree. Maiev, Lenora, kind of good.
I'm more than okay with it, Trixler. I'm more than okay to be back here with you to cast game number 2 and the final game of the series.
Well, let's do it, man. Here on the left side in the blue, it's going to be Team 12. Bud's playing Rhaegar, Goku on Maiev, Kira on Lenara, Dansky on Tyrael, and Justin playing Blaze.
On the right side will be Method, trying to make sure they can even this up 1-1 against a strong game 1 here from Team 12, as it will be Schwimpy on the Genji, Uther being played by Kurson, Arcaner on Dahaka, Athero on Johanna, and Nick on Gul'dan.
I am very curious about the composition here for Team 12. At first glance, it seems like a very strong composition. When you're playing Lenara, you want to have somebody paired with you that demands attention. And Maiev demands attention. You're trying to dodge out on those binds, making sure you're not getting caught out, making sure to watch her cooldown timing on her trait so she's not dodging abilities. And meanwhile, Lenara will be throwing spears. This seems deadly.
Yeah, it always, in the way that I see this, because we've seen the Lunara pick as Schwimpy's going in, getting a little bit of damage on the backside. Goku trying to leash onto him, but Lunara basically sets a timer on team fights, right? You can only survive for so long. As Michael Udall said, is that Uther wants fast fights. Lunara is more than okay with long fights, and that will definitely put them on a timer. Speaking of a timer, Justin up here.
Oh, wow. Justin barely getting out there. Kurson not stepping up enough there to stop the engage, the jet propulsion from going too far. Able to escape a 3-man gank. Well played by him. Meanwhile, Team 12 and the rest of the members group up on the bottom side, pushing the wave, and start their Merc camps.
They start their Merc camps, and what that sets up is it could set up a potential invade. Uther does well against countering that. Genji doesn't have great early game team fight. Johanna not there, but you do have the global, and they bring that in instantly, and Arcaner lands the tongue. Cure is in so much trouble. Schwimpy getting one. He's got the reset, but Dansky out of there.
Got the reset, but not quite the kill. Dansky a little too slippery for him, but the invade successful for Method, able to take away the sappers and go back and take their own. Now, good news for Team 12, Justin did push in the top lane, and it looks like Dahaka's not gonna get there in time. Should be a couple of minions missed out on, but Method very happy with that, especially when they get the kick.
Trixler, I gotta ask you about this, because Gul'dan, we've seen a lot of echoed corruption. We're seeing going into the Fell Flame build where after you hit enough heroes, you get the extra radius, the extra range on it.
Yeah.
Is that strictly because you're terrified of Maiev?
Maybe. Trying to be a little bit safer. Fell Flame is a build that we've seen in the past. You get decent, consistent damage, but you are a bit safer when you get that range finished off, so it could be just a way that they're trying to deal with that. Also, to be fair, Lenara is a little bit hard to hit on the backside. Sure, you can do some decent damage to Blaze in the front, but Corruption gets kind of nullified by that bunker, so it's not a bad change here for Gul'dan. Looks like he wants to be a bit safer, not having to position into Goku, who already has shown what he can do.
He's showing what he can do, but so is Arcaner. He's making 2 for 2 on these tongues and making the big plays, despite getting that cooldown on hitting multiple heroes. Arcaner, and that's the power of the global. This is something we see a lot of in North America, is you have that global, you can just instantly bring it down and turn a team fight, and they are doing it handedly.
I mean, that's the power of Arcaner on Dahaka. I swear, if you took away the global for that hero, he would still be landing tongues left and right. He's got bee honey on that tongue, landing constantly on any targets that he wants to. Arcaner is a must-see when you're watching Dahaka. Him and Wubby, some of the best in Europe.
Failed attempt there, as Athero has that iron skin to casually walk away from that, but we are at our first altar phase. Triple altar, yeah.
Can they stop it here? Okay, Nick's getting it last second. I was like, whoa, he's taking that timing to the last wire there, but able to delay long enough. Dahaka back in the top lane, and we do the old combo of when is Dahaka coming in? And he's coming in now.
He's coming in now. Athero already used his condemn, though. We see Goku trying to make the plays happen, but the damage onto Goku on Maev. They get the trade right now, but Uther still has the heals.
Uther totally okay with that death there, keeping up with the heals. Schwimpy trying to find Buds, but he can't get it. He's able to kite away Arcaner. Maybe not so lucky as Dansky goes in, and Team 12 might get a few more kills here. One goes down, a second as well. Arcaner, can he escape?
He's
it
done.
looks like it, but Schwimpy,
Does he have a W?
not as lucky.
He doesn't even need it.
Poison, it's there. He's dead. He falls. Team 12 gets 3 kills.
That's the Lunara factor. That's why the Lunara pick against this composition is so strong. Arcaner was not able to get into position to get that tongue. Maev, of course, set a lot of that up, and they dove instantly onto that. But when you trade out and Uther is the one that's taken down, especially against the Lunara, you're not going to survive for very long. And Cure lit them up in that fight.
And Team 12 in a very good position. Ahead 36-32, getting experience lead. They got Sappers pushing in as well. Very happy for them, especially when they're moving to level 7 where Lenara starts to get that power spike in, being able to get that Splintered Spear. We have the Phantom Knives build coming online for Maev. Things are looking difficult, but don't count Method yet.
Yeah,
Level 10.
Splintered Spear is not what you want to face if you're an Uther. Dansky eating a bit of damage, not willing to dive out just yet, as he's like, hey, wait a minute, I got friends too. As Cure and Buds come over to lend a little bit of support, as is Goku, but Arcaner, nice cleanse onto Lunara.
Great cleanse there from Buds, instantly stopping there. Cure's able to kite backwards. Schwimpy doing a little bit of harassment, but Nick getting low, has to kite away with these constant engages coming in from Team 12. The trade a little bit too much, and Method has to disengage in a 4v5.
Yeah, and they definitely have to disengage. They need to get back. They need to try and soak some up. Schwimpy taking a bit of damage as we see the experience gap starting to favor Team 12. They were in a little bit of a skirmish trying to get out of there, but definitely in favor of Team 12 right now.
Yeah, that's one of the woes of taking your Dahaka and putting him in the bottom lane. If you don't get that kill and you're against a Blaze, he was able to soak a couple lanes, and that gave him that experience lead that they were already ahead in, beginning with that fight. And now we're in a spot where Method needs to decide, okay, do we want to go ahead and just soak during this phase, give up the altar phases, or do we want to fight right away? The time window is getting smaller and smaller as 10's right around the corner.
10's right around the corner, and you can see Buds putting that totem in the bush, making sure there's nobody there to get him. Cure does get an auto attack off onto Schwimpy, and Dansky is going to get the interrupt onto Athero there on the channel. Now we've got ourselves a skirmish, and 10 is close for Team 12 in the Lunara factor. If Method is going to defend this, they need to defend it now, else they've got to back up, and I think they're electing to back up.
They have to. I'm getting nervous there for Method. Yes, they finally back up. Team 12 showing some great shot calling today in this series. Able to grab the altar, grab a massive lead here of 36-24, and they're even invading their opponent's Sappers. And Method can't do much about this. They even scattered out and realized, all right, they have 10, give it up, guys. We have to soak a full level, and Team 12 should be open this gate and maybe look to get some damage on this bell tower.
Yeah, I agree with you. With level 10, they can just posture up really hard. They can push this in, and there's not a lot that can be done by Method at all. And we know how strong, how crippling this bottom lane can be. And they're going to grab it for now, and they're taking complete control of this. We've got a Genji pairing against the Blaze as well.
Schwimpy just razzing a little bit here. Okay, so this is where I'm curious to see how the Gul'dan versus Maev matchup is going to unfold. Gul'dan naturally is getting bulled out so far by that Maev, constantly being in the back line, dropping in the binds, possibly trying to pull him in. It's been a little bit hard for Nick to do much. He's been dropping the Fel Flames here and there, but now that he has Horrify, will he be able to land a punish on the Maev, and will that change up the aggression she's able to bring to him?
Yeah, and looking at it, he has 28 stacks on that. Still a little ways to go, as you do need 40 of those. You know, Lunara, we saw Splintered Spear, and Splintered Spear is really strong against an Uther. I do sometimes wonder, all right, you really kind of need the mobility against the Genji. But then you look at the fact that you've got a bunker and a sanctification, you can play a little bit safer. Don't have to worry about the dive as much, and therefore leaping strike not as necessary. Just get the poke in instead.
This helps with wave clear too, also to keep Gul'dan low when they can. The poison being annoying enough, having to tap into his own life, that becomes very, very frustrating for a Gul'dan player. And speaking of frustrating, they have to deal with these Sappers that are pushing towards their core. They're gonna have to also deal with the bell tower. I think Method has to give this up as well, and they're starting to get to a point where they're dipping below 20, and that's where you start freaking out a little bit.
That's the bottom lane control. It's just so difficult to deal with. You can see Nick trying to get the Fel Flames out, still only at 31, so he does it to Horrify. There it is. There's the big thing they need, and you can see Maev is just fine as she presses her trait and lives.
Wow, able to dodge out, and Sicilian comes in, drops the warding cage as well. Bunker helping out, adjusting, is allowing for the team to engage. A drag connects, but the cleanse comes out. Goku's still alive, even looking for a little bit more poke on those Phantom Knives, and Method gets sent back to their base.
Yeah, they get sent back to their base. You can see the power of the vault there for Maiev. Things got questionable, but there were not enough stuns to keep her locked down. Goku, more than okay with taking that fight. And then, as you said, the Phantom Knives were getting so much poke, it actually forced Dahaka to use his burrow just to stop the onslaught of the cooldown reduction from hitting 2 or more heroes.
I'm very worried for Method right now. They are going to be moving towards level 13 and 16. Gul'dan getting to the late damage is a bit scary, but so is Lenara, with her about to hit the level 13 for herself at the same time. Can go into a little bit more damage if she would like with unfair advantage. Could even go for a bit tanky plays if she's afraid of being picked off. But at this point, I wouldn't mind seeing more damage coming in from Team 12. You have the slows already for Blaze, so the unfair advantage could definitely get its own proc. And of course, you got the slows coming in from her as well.
Has Bunker even been used yet?
Yeah, Bunker was used on that push at the bottom.
And that's it.
That's it.
I mean, for a 40-second cooldown heroic, where a couple minutes passed, and the threat has not been there. Team Method has not been able to force much. They're able to force a little bit there. Blessed Shield used for the lockdown. Bunker's going to be out, but he's going to have armor, but no health. Shrimpy's going to get the kill.
An important pick there for Method. They needed that pick to start their comeback. They have Gul'dan on the bottom working on the bell tower, so Method has to be careful and try to escape here because Team 12 is trying to force a fight. With the Iron Skin coming out, Johanna's able to sneak away, but in 8 seconds, Altars will be activating, and with Blaze back in 15, Method has to strike quick.
They do, but I think them obtaining the bottom bell tower on their side, which we just saw that ping on the minimap, is a big step in getting back in this game.
Totally.
It helps you get the experience. The kill helped as well. And by rotating all the members up from Team 12 to try and take that fight, trying to get that counter punch going, it allowed for some battleground control. And battleground control on this map is so crucial. And so Method finding their way back in, but they do still find themselves down 20 core health.
Experience is now tied, so if you're a Method fan, you could be happy here. At least we're back in the game. EU trying to do their best here to maybe look in for a fight. Team of 12 in the middle, though, controlling space very, very well. Thorough doing his best not to get caught there by the Miev, even using the Iron Skin where he's needing to. Arcaner at the same time has been soaking like crazy on the side with his level 1 quest about to finish up. He's at 7 out of the 10 secs that you need.
Boy, Cure took so much damage. Shwimpy starting to heat up now as he's putting the pressure on the team. They tried to get Arcaner in there again, unable to do so, trying to utilize that Dahaka. They got out of there, but the threat is becoming more and more real for this team. Fellflame sitting at 39 stacks, almost done. The Shuriken Mastery was completed by Shwimpy, so there's a lot for this team that's starting to ramp up and allow them to make some more plays.
Arcaner gonna have to head back to the top lane soon. Consistently looking for that drag, but with Blaze pushing in the top and being annoying, Method will have to deal with that. Now, there is 2 Ultra spawning again on the next phase. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 Ultra spawning on the next phase, which in theory should be good for Method with them having the Brush Stalker available, but they have to make sure that they're able to poke and slow down their opponents, because so far, Lenara has been very annoying, and it continues to be worse as we scale up in the game.
It is worse. She has some of the best scaling in the game around that poison damage, and as you alluded to before, the unfair advantage just really punishes you. That poison damage that's applied, amplifying that damage up, is so oppressive when you have an Uther on the other side. So Method trying to look for some way to fight. As you said, using that Brush Stalker gives them the advantage.
She's up there. Maiev is in there for the delay as well. If she gets that Phantom Knives in, it's going to be kind of hard here for Method to deal with, and she does. So Maiev being frustrated in the top right corner. Genji will head up to help out. But damage missing here on the bottom side. Nick will have to make sure to land these Fel Flames, and he does, as Curson gets some poke in as well.
They get the poke in. That actually forced Genji to go up. Now we're going to see Dahaka coming in. The tongue is going to land again. Buds just fine. They're trying for the counter engage. Iron Skin has been used as Johanna and team walk away, but here comes Goku on the backside.
It's the Warden's Cage blocking him in here. Gonna have the Divine Shield the last second for Gul'dan to keep him alive. A Thorough, maybe not so lucky, getting lower in health. Dahaka goes in for the burrow, but he's isolated. He's back in the back, and Rhaegar and crew will be able to secure that kill.
They confirm that kill, and by getting that kill, we see 16 almost here for Team 12. They get another altar. They're now 4 health away. The boss is available. It looks like they're playing around the minions, trying to hide it. They might try and go and just in the game here. 5 versus 4. Dahaka just uses Brush Stalker, so he does not have that available here. Team 12 going for the victory.
Team 12 going for the victory. Johanna using the Iron Skin. We'll have that up soon. Shwimpy still has his Dragon Blade. Team 12 looking to control this area here as the boss goes down to half health. But takes damage right away though. Shwimpy's popping off. He's a human propeller.
Shwimpy is going off right now, saving this game, and he is just turning this around. Wow.
The
Bunker.
damage.
That was insane.
Incredibly quick damage there. Nick and Schwimpy finding a target, taking out Buds instantly. Feels like you should play it a little bit more back. You got your Tyrael, you got your Blaze. It can hold that space. And Method will take that opportunity. They don't care how they get it. They're going to go ahead and move to the middle lane and try and open it up. Goku goes in for a bind, gets one, but Schwimpy chases.
Schwimpy chases Athero, trying to zone out as well. Genji has some mobility, hops over the wall. Get a little bit of damage here in the middle lane. This might not look like much now, Trixel, but you get another 1 or 2 kills. You can open up not just one bell tower at the bottom, but 2 and really turn this game around if you're Method. They're holding on by a shoestring, but they are finding their way back decisively.
It is Towers of Doom, as where comebacks do come alive on this battleground, and luckily for Method, it's only one altar available here, meaning they can fight over this area, and if they win this team fight, they can take that altar as well. Team 12 recollecting themselves, grouping up right now. Blaze on the left side can move in for that choke, and we can start to have Team 12 going for an engage. A drag hits over the wall. Wow, Arcaner. Goku taking some damage there, also looking for a fight, able to dash out.
He ate so much damage there. Schwimpy and team looking to fight, but Cure starting to spread some of the poison damage. Splintered Spear goes out. There's a few sappers at the bottom. They're trying to defend. Dainsky's going to force Curson to come over. Again, this could just as easily be over if Team 12 takes this fight. You can see the pings on the backside. Dahaka looking for the flank.
Method buying some time here. In 10 seconds, Dragon Blade will be up. Schwimpy comes out with a deflect, able to stay alive, taking some poke though. Divine Shield comes in to keep him alive. Warden's Cage, it does connect, but Arcaner able to sneak on out.
Sneaking on out. The channel started. It's going to force Method back into this fight. It's a place they are having trouble engaging into. Divine Shield is down. A lot of the key heroics are down, and Lunara poison damage is so threatening. Arcaner comes in. He's trying to survive, but Justin with the re-engage.
Justin moves in. Schwimpy goes for the back, but he gets a kill on Lunara before Ancestral Healing does connect Schwimpy. At the same time, looking at Justin, all 5 members from Method are still up and alive, and they're keeping up with the fight. Curson is able to start channeling this altar, and Method lives to stay in the game.
Schwimpy is a boss. He is just single-handedly saying, look, just hold on, let me find my rhythm, and he has found it, and he is turning these fights in an instant. There's a lot of teamwork going on, but right now, Method and Schwimpy, it's really starting to hurt Team 12.
It's looking scary, and if they lose the bell tower, it's gonna get worse, and they lose a Tyrael. Oh no. Goku goes in for the engage, trying to force a fight underneath this tower. If they can get Arcaner, that'd be a great pick for them. Cleanse comes out, Bunker as well from Justin, but Schwimpy with him showing up, Team 12 is forced to back away.
They're forced to back away, but the experience starting to get in favor of Method. If they start to get towards 20, all of a sudden, the next bell tower, the next altar is in their favor. If they're Method, they could play the 20 game, start to inch back in. The boss call seems to be hurting Team 12, and right now, 16 minutes in, Method starting to take control, and Trixler down at the bottom, solo altar. You have the Dahaka. You can stay in that area, defend the boss for when it does come back up, if necessary. And that boss, a minute and a half away, this altar will be here well before then.
Should be in time, so Method should be able to grab this, especially with them controlling the bottom altar. They can peel off Dahaka if they need to as well to deal with the middle and top lane. Johanna goes in for Condemn. If it was possible, he'd go in for the kill on Cure, but Cure playing well in positioning, kiting away, and there's that altar you were talking about, and the boss not up for another minute and 20 seconds. This should be Method's, but they do have to keep an eye on where Team 12 heads.
They're going to try and come in for the flank. They want to try and take this fight pre-20. Arcaner's going to meet them right away, right before Blaze was able to charge up. He's turning the fight. He's trying to go in the Horrify, has isolated team members of Team 12, but Bunker's down, going to save him for now.
Goku's able to escape thanks to the Bunker Sync is used, but Method is kiting away. Nick dropping the Fell Flames where he can and the Corruption at the same time. Justin keeping him in the engage, but Schwimpy has the Dragon Blade and has the Divine Shield. He's flashing. He's going to try and get Goku. A last-second shield keeps him alive, but it's not enough.
It's not enough. Schwimpy is absolutely massacring Team 12. They just don't have the answer. Nick has no attention onto him whatsoever, so he's just throwing in those Fell Flames, has that extra range, and is just annihilating them. We also have the Rampant Hell Flames, the Rampant Hellfire, so every time he hits Q, when those start to ramp up, you increase the damage every time you hit, and that's why you see so much burst damage starting to come up in those fights. In those choke points, he's hitting multiple members, stacking that up instantly, and Schwimpy going in. That duo right now, just buy me 10 seconds, and they just take that fight.
And Method hits level 20, and with the boss up in 10 seconds, they have to heavily consider, do we grab this boss away from our opponents when we have the lead? We want to make sure that's not up and available in case Team 12 tries to go for a grab on that boss when we're not looking, and they decide instantly to grab said boss. That'll be 4 more points for them.
I actually was sitting here looking. I thought this was the case, and we actually see choking pollen. It's something I don't normally see from Lunara players. You get extra noxious blossom damage against enemies affected by your poison, by your nature's toxin. That means you have to hit that. At level 1, you didn't go the bigger radius, so it's a skill shot, but I think in these choke points, he's maybe trying to go there. Normally, you go the range. At that one, this is actually quite unique. I've never seen this in competitive play, at least not to my recollection.
Well, with throwing vines, you should be able to hit it, but the range seems like to be so handy. But I guess when you have a Genji jumping on top of you, the idea
it's already on top of you.
Damage, you can get it to pull off. We'll have to ask here later about that pickup on that level 16, because it is definitely peculiar. But for now, we are focused on one altar. 20-20 for both of our teams, as Justin soaks the top lane and stops those sappers. At the same time, Team 12 is working on taking their bell tower in the middle. This is coming down to the last couple of fights.
This is it. I mean, right now, you have Method. They've come back. It is 6 core health on the side of Team 12. But if you don't take this bell tower and you see Team 12 take a team fight and take an altar, it's game over. They've hit 20. This is the moment, Trixer, where Team 12 is going to try and end. Curson already with the channel.
Method doing their best here to channel. Had it been similar in terms of core health, Method could cheese it, but they would only go down to 2, so they have to play it careful, and they have to respond to what Team 12 does. Team 12 drops their sanctification. They're trying to get the channel.
They got it.
They get it? They were able to do... No, it's interrupted the last second.
Interrupted at the last second. Bunker is already out as is sanctification. You can see Budge trying to run over. He hops into the bunker. Curson is low. The poison damage is there. Johanna has fallen, but Schwimpy trying to keep him in. He's poisoned to death. The heals are not enough. 4 members down on the side of Method. That's going to be 5. Then just like that, Team 12 is able to seal the deal.
Kira starts the channel, and North America comes to the Western Clash here in Poland and gets their first victory over a European team as they defeat Method 2-0.
That was not easy. The poison damage, just so much to over.